back on the Sports Crunch, rock100diz.com, and it's being brought to you by Paul Hollywood's favorite spot. When Paul Hollywood goes to Jacksonville to check out the Jaguars, after the game, where does he go party?
Wackos, where the girls are.
And I love how the sneeze just came in right at the end. That's so obnoxious. 22 after the hour, and let's go straight to the phone. I got Charlie Bernstein from ESPN on the phone. Charlie, what's happening?
Hey, Chris, how are you?
Good to have you on the show, pal. I know you want to give out a plug about your new show coming to our new station, so go ahead and do that, because Paulie always plugs everything else. So.
Oh, absolutely. We'll be on Monday through Thursday, 6 to 9, talking about all the world of sports. Get it from, of course, an expert opinion with myself and my good friend Andrew Melnick. Tons of experience. I've been on the NFL Network before, ESPN, right for Fox Sports, all that good stuff.
Yes, it's good to get another pro on the network here. Charlie, tell us your take on the Super Bowl. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen? Is it going to be Pittsburgh all the way, or is the Packers really going to? Do the Packers have a chance?
Packers certainly have a chance in next week's Super Bowl. Actually, I like all the matchups for Green Bay. Normally, when you think of a classic Green Bay Packers team, you think of the outdoor, cool weather, running the football. Well, this ain't them. They're more suited to play in a dome. Super Bowl happens to be in a dome. If the Pittsburgh Steelers defense has a weak spot, it's certainly a corner. And I believe Aaron Rodgers and the fine set of Green Bay receivers with Greg Jennings, Donald Driver, James Jones, even Andrew Corliss at tight end, I believe they can really expose the middle of that field and really expose those corners. The big question for Green Bay, if they're going to be able to move the football, can you block James Harrison? And we're not going to really know that till Sunday. The Packers' offensive line has been a lot better this year. They've been better as the weeks have gone on. I expect a really competitive game, and I like the Green Bay Packers edging out the Steelers on Sunday.
Yeah, and as far as the betting line, Charlie, it goes from 2.5 to 3 points, depending on where you're betting. I mean, and the money line, you have to put more money down. I think it's 120 for the Green Bay to get back 100. Do you like this Packers with the money line, or do you like the point spread 2.5, 3 points to Pack?
I like Green Bay to cover that. I mean, 2.5 is I think what you can buy it at most websites and casinos around the world, legally, of course.
Yes, of course.
Most websites, I mean, 2.5 points. If I'm taking Green Bay to win, it's probably not going to be by 1 or 2. I would not be afraid to lay those points.
Now, what do you think about Maurkice Pouncey? Since he's going to be out for that game, do you think that's going to have an effect as far as Green Bay, going after Roethlisberger with that line being probably not as strong?
You got to think that's going to be a key loss. They're going to be playing Doug Legursky, Maurkice Pouncey's backup. And, they're going up against B.J. Raji, one of the best young defensive tackles in all of football. I definitely like that matchup for Green Bay. The thing that's so interesting about Pittsburgh, their offensive line this year has been absolutely terrible. I mean, this is one of the worst offensive lines that you'll ever see from a Super Bowl contender. I would say the second worst would have been the last Pittsburgh Steelers Super Bowl team a couple of years ago. They lost both tackles throughout the course of this season, playing a lot of inexperienced guys. They're going to have a hard time running the football. Of course, Pittsburgh's run sets up the pass for them. Green Bay's got nice, very good corners. Tramon Williams has kind of came out of nowhere. You know about Charles Woodson. As an excellent secondary, I like Green Bay up front to really win that matchup.
Now, as far as what do you call it? The Green Bay is just like I say. I think that they're going to win myself. I mean, I just think from what we saw in Atlanta, the way they exploded down there in the Georgia Dome. I mean, both of us have been in Texas Stadium, and we know that that's the same kind of fast track turf. So I mean, I'm in the camp with you that I just feel that they're just going to really explode on that fast track. And I think the Steelers really like a slower track. Now, the one thing you can't count out the Steelers on is Roethlisberger. Like, you look at the last game with the Jets, his stats were horrible, but he still makes big plays. Do you think he's going to have a chance of making any big plays at all to keep this game where they could win it or at least keep it really close?
Oh, certainly. I mean, if I'm a Green Bay Packer fan, or if I'm wagering my paycheck on the Packers, if Pittsburgh has the ball, with around 2 minutes remaining, and if I'm not up by 8 or more points, I'm feeling very nervous. I'm feeling very, very nervous. Ben Roethlisberger is the type of quarterback, doesn't wow you with the stats. All he does is win games. And, it's kind of amazing to me. If he wins on Sunday, that's going to be 3 Super Bowl titles by the age of 28. Never been done before. I think people are really discounting the impact that Ben Roethlisberger has had on the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're talking about a Hall of Fame quarterback here.
Okay, definitely. If he wins 3 Super Bowls, no matter whatever happens, off the field, he's going to get in the Hall of Fame. I just can't see him staying out. And I think he's done a big turnaround. I mean, just from this last suspension where he lost almost $4 million in endorsements and everything, I think he learned his lesson. I think he's a better teammate. I think his teammates actually like him better now than they did, before the suspension.
Yeah, I would say he's grown up quite a bit. 4-game suspension, losing, $3-4 million out of your paycheck, that will do that to you. The people in Pittsburgh, my contacts up there said, you haven't seen him out at the bars. There's a report that he's actually engaged to a woman. I'm not sure if I'd want to be her father, but he's apparently grown up quite a bit. And, what the guy does on the field, he's a great, great quarterback. If you come with a corner blitz, he just basically, shoes off defenders. Big, strong guy. And really, from, the time he was a rookie, he's always made big plays at the end of games. And, you get the feeling when Ben Roethlisberger is your quarterback, no stage is too big for that guy.
Now, you look back at the Super Bowl where he beat Seattle. He had a horrible game, and he just, was lucky to win. The last one, he won that game at the end with that unbelievable pass to Santonio Holmes. So we'll see what this time brings. Like I said, I think he's not going to hurt the team. I just think I'm with you. I just think Green Bay is just going to be fast and explosive, and I think they're going to put up a lot of points.
Well, see, I disagree with...
It's just a matchup thing for Green Bay, and playing on the fast track. I think that really comes into play for them. If this was even an outdoor Super Bowl, I don't think I would give Green Bay quite as big of an advantage, but it's not. So that's where I'm putting my heart on.
But see, I'm looking at it this way, gentlemen. Roethlisberger, just like you both have said, he doesn't win pretty. I mean, he wins ugly, just like Terry Bradshaw. That's who he puts me in the mind of. Terry Bradshaw, when was the last, I shouldn't say when was the last time he threw for 400 yards, but I can't remember Terry Bradshaw throwing for 400 yards in a game or 300 yards in a game. He had good receivers. He knew how to get the ball out there, get the big play, and that was it.
But it was just a built different team.
And look, if you had a guy like Franco Harris, hey diddle diddle, fullback up the middle. Now, my thing with Green Bay is very good. I mean, to go into Atlanta and just whoop the snot out of them was great. However, they caught fire late in the season, just as the playoffs started the run. Just like everybody sat there with the Jets. This is who the Packers remind me of. They remind me of the Jets. Everybody said, the Jets are going all the way. And I said, no, look who they've got to play to get over those mountains to get to the Super Bowl. I think the Packers their Super Bowl was last week when they beat the Bears. I think it'll be a close game, but I don't see the Packers beating the Steelers.
It's interesting that you compare them to a New York team. I compare them to a different New York team. I compare them to the 2007 New York Giants, a team that, as you said, kind of caught fire late and seemingly got better and better each and every week. And, I felt that they've really gone through kind of went through the cauldron to get even in the playoffs and into the Super Bowl. Green Bay had to start playing virtual playoff games from week 14 on. Just to make the playoffs. And
Right.
They go up to Philadelphia. They come out with a win there. They smoke Atlanta.
Smoke the
Giants.
Giants.
Game against Chicago, I think, was, I don't want to say a little bit fluky. I mean, I got the feeling watching that game that after the Packers scored on the first possession that Chicago really wasn't ever going to win that game. I felt that Chicago was kind of an overrated team somewhat. An inflated record by their schedule. Green Bay got, I guess you could say, sort of a nice path to the Super Bowl. they know how good Pittsburgh is. And one thing I got to say, I think there's going to be a lower scoring game than a lot of people are anticipating. I kind of like the under if we're, pretend gambling.
It's 45, isn't it, the line on the under?
Yeah.
Yeah, the last time these two teams played, now, this was back in the 2009 season, and Troy Polamalu was not playing it. I think the score was Pittsburgh beat him 37-36, and that was in Heinz Field. So that was a really high scoring. I think I'm going to go on the over on that. I think they're going to score more than 45.
Between the two? Yes, I would think so.
Yeah, I think they're going to score more.
I would think so. So, Charlie, thanks for being on the show. And be sure to check out Charlie Bernstiens. His show's going to be over on our newest station, 99talkradio.com, and that will be he'll be on daily from 6 to 9 o'clock. Charlie Bernstein, thanks for being on the Sports
Charlie.
Crunch.
No problem, guys. Thanks.
All right, have a good one.
You too.
All right, as we're moving along in the Sports Crunch, Paulie, I think that it's going to be a good game. This might be one of the best ones.
Like I say, you've got the thing there showing in comparison. See, but I mean, the fact is, you've got two huge fan bases, and in fact, I even posted today on Facebook that the Steelers are undoubtedly the number one team now in America. I mean, the Cowboys are not America's team anymore.
No.
I mean, you just think what the Steelers have done, won Super Bowls in every decade since 1970. Their merchandising is through the roof. I mean, their fan base, wherever they go on the road, the only team that they didn't sell out. They sold out every game on the road and at home since 1970, except for one this year, and that was the one they played in Tampa. And I think Tampa deliberately set them up there so the game would not be sold out, because they could have bought some tickets at the last minute and had a thing on it. And I think they deliberately wanted to make it where, and I think by the time game time it was a sellout, but it didn't sell out for the TV blackout.
Because I know a guy, his name's Preston Harper. I wonder if Hop is listening to the broadcast. He's up in Charlotte, North Carolina. He's been an old friend of us, of the Aquarius 7 Broadcasting Network, one of our first listeners online. Do you know, March 31st, 10 years we've been online.
10 years. And I've been on 9 of those 10 years. 9
of the 10. So you're an old warhorse with me.
Yes, I am. I've been there with the ups and downs.
Yes, some of the ups and downs. But this is, amazing. If you compared the two teams between Pittsburgh and Green Bay, one's a cheesehead, one's a terrible towel. Both of them are cold enough to host their own outdoor NHL game. In Green Bay, it's beer and brats. In Pittsburgh, Primanti Brothers? You've ever had that?
No, I never had that.
But you've been to Pittsburgh.
I've been to Pittsburgh, but I don't remember seeing the Primanti.
Okay, but have you been to Green Bay?
Never been to Green Bay. I wanted to go to Green Bay. In fact, a couple of years ago, I regret the Jags were playing an exhibition game, and it was in the summertime. I said, man, I have to go to Green Bay in the summer, where it wouldn't be cold. I could, cool at night, and get. But somehow something was a conflict. I didn't make it, but I wish I would have gone now.
I almost want to ask you where's the Jaguars playing this year, but we'll come back to that.
Well, we don't know the preseason schedule. We know the regular season schedule, but we don't know the preseason.
Okay. Now, if you went up to Green Bay, there's no baseball. I mean, if you were going to hang out there.
They have the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah, the Milwaukee Brewers, and then Pittsburgh's got the Pirates that hasn't won since Pop Stargell.
No, well, yeah, but I mean, the last time that they were actually in a divisional playoff was against the Braves, I think in '91, and that's when you had Barry Bonds was a Pittsburgh Pirate. And if you look at Barry Bonds back then, he was a skinny kid, and then the steroids took in and he blew up.
Here we go about that. Okay. Let's see. What else? Packers are still mad about Brett Favre, and everybody's still talking about the immaculate reception in Pittsburgh with Franco Harris. For you young folks that don't remember Franco Harris,
I think the people our age up there are probably still talking about that. I don't know if the youngins are still talking about that.
I was the guy from the Raiders, George Atkinson. Remember when he was in Jacksonville? We covered because we covered the Jaguars people.
Yeah, we saw him sitting up in the press box next to us.
Yeah, he still swears that ball hit the ground. And if you look at the replay,
I've seen it on NFL films. It looked good to me.
Looked good to me. I saw green under there, so I don't know what he's talking about. But you gotta love the Roonies, though.
Yes.
You can't root against these people because what's the senior Rooney?
Well, it was Art was the old man.
Okay, when Art owned the team, Art bought the team with money he won from
Gambling.
the racetrack.
Yeah, gambling, yes.
Okay. And the Steelers were like the doormat of the NFL. You couldn't get any worse than the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 40s and 50s.
They didn't get good until they got Chuck Noll in 1969, and they were so low. Then they finally were. He got together. They drafted very well, and all those players you had in that 70s dynasty was all through the draft. No free agency there. They just drafted very good, and all those guys just meshed real. I mean, you look at those guys. That team, I mean, I think like the whole starting lineup, except maybe 1-2 guys, are in the Hall of Fame. It's incredible.
Yes, and it is incredible. And speaking of incredible things, let's be incredible and take a quick break and come back to more of the Sports Crunch right here on Rock100DIZ.com.